The twin suns hung low over the horizon, bleeding orange and silver light across the cracked desert of Virelia Prime. The air shimmered with heat and quiet sorrow. A lone figure walked through the dust, his armor scratched, his rifle slung over his back, and a small crystal pendant clenched tightly in his hand. His name was Elias Ward, the last surviving human soldier of Outpost 47. He stopped at a small mound of glowing blue sand. A grave, her grave, the alien medic who had once saved his life, Lyra of the Virelians. Her people had eyes like liquid sapphire and hair that shimmered like fine glass. She had healed him when he was dying, even when her tribe called humans invaders. She was gentle, brave, and endlessly curious about human hearts. And now she was gone. Elias knelt beside the grave and placed the pendant, a tiny crystal filled with light, on the mound. His hands trembled. The war was over, but peace had not come. Not for him, Lyra, he whispered, his voice breaking in the dry wind. You said Virelia never forgets those it loves. Then why did you leave me? The desert answered only with silence. Elias bowed his head, eyes closing. He could still remember her laughter, the way she used to hum while tending to his wounds, and the glow of her fingers as she touched his face. Every night since her death, he heard her voice in his dreams. Every dawn, he hoped the suns would bring her back. He stayed there until the sky dimmed, the second sun sinking behind the dunes. Then something changed. The air grew cold. The crystal pendant flickered once, then again. Elias frowned. What the? The sand beneath his knees shivered. For a heartbeat, he thought it was just his imagination. But then he felt it. A soft pulse coming from beneath the grave. He leaned closer, pressing his hand to the mound. A steady rhythm echoed through the soil. Thump, 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 a heartbeat. Elias froze, his breath caught in his throat. No, it can't be. The grave glowed faintly blue. Dust lifted into the air, swirling around him like tiny stars. And then a shape began to form, something human-shaped, something fragile. A soft voice whispered through the wind. Elias. His name. Spoken in her voice. He stumbled back, his heart racing. The grave cracked open slightly, and a thin hand, glowing faintly translucent, rose through the sand and touched his wrist. It was warm, real, trembling. Elias's eyes widened. He wanted to speak, but his words failed him. He just stared, unable to breathe. The hand squeezed weakly, as if asking him not to run. He finally whispered, Lyra. The blue mist thickened, forming the outline of her face, pale, fragile, but still beautiful. Her eyes shimmered like water, filled with both love and sorrow. You came back, she murmured. Her voice was faint, like wind through glass. Elias reached toward her, his fingers trembling. How? You're gone. I buried you myself. Her lips barely moved. Not gone, trapped between light and shadow. He shook his head in disbelief. This isn't possible. You died in my arms. Lyra smiled weakly. I told you once. Virelia never forgets those it loves. The ground pulsed again, brighter this time, throwing waves of light across the desert. Elias shielded his eyes. When the glow dimmed, her form was still there, faint, flickering, but alive in some strange way. And then suddenly a deep metallic hum echoed from the horizon. Elias turned sharply. Red lights blinked across the dunes. Drones, human drones, scanning the wasteland for energy anomalies. He looked back at the glowing figure of Lyra. They'll detect you, he whispered urgently. If they find you, they'll erase you completely. Lyra's faint smile faded. Then run, Elias, save what's left of me. Before he could answer, her hand slipped from his wrist, melting back into mist. The glow faded into the grave once more. Only the pendant remained, pulsing faintly with her heartbeat. Elias grabbed it, clutched it to his chest, and turned toward the ruins ahead. Behind him, the grave pulsed one last time, like a farewell. And as the drones closed in, the desert wind carried a single whisper. Don't say goodbye, not yet. Elias froze where he stood. The cold desert wind howled across the dunes, carrying dust and the faint hum of machines far away. He stared at the grave, at the faint blue glow flickering beneath the crystal sand. His breath came in shaky bursts. The hand that had touched him a moment ago was gone. but the warmth still lingered on his wrist, real, undeniable. He whispered, "Lyra, was that really you?" The pendant around his neck pulsed once like a tiny heartbeat. Then again, the ground stirred, and blue mist began to rise from the grave, forming a shape that swayed gently in the air. It wasn't solid, more like shimmering water caught in light. Elias reached out, but his fingers passed through it. Still, he felt something, like static against his skin, warm and alive. Then he heard her voice. Not through his ears, but inside his mind. "You shouldn't be here, Elias." He froze, eyes wide. "Lyra?" The mist turned toward him. For a moment he saw her face clearly, those glowing eyes, soft and sad. "I told you, my people never truly die, but I'm not alive either. I'm trapped between the light and the dark." He took a step closer. "Trapped? How?" "I buried you myself." I saw her faint shape trembled. "Your soldiers burned my body, yes, but a Varelian soul binds to what it loves most before the end. I bound myself to you." Elias's heart pounded. "To me? You carry part of me in your blood now, my energy, my essence." Before he could respond, a low metallic hum echoed from the distance. Elias turned. On the horizon, red lights blinked in formation, scanning drones. The same kind that hunted anything unnatural. "They're close," he muttered. "If they detect this energy, they'll destroy it." Lyra's voice grew faint. "They already sent me. My kind was outlawed after the war. Our energy signatures are considered dangerous. You must run, Elias. Take the pendant, it holds the last part of me." Elias shook his head. "No, I lost you once. I'm not losing you again." He dug his boots into the sand, scanning the horizon. The drones were faster than he remembered. Sleek black shells gliding above the dunes, red sensors sweeping side to side. Lyra's glow dimmed as if the air itself was swallowing her. "They will kill you." "I've been dead inside since you left," Elias said quietly. "If this is madness, then I'll face it with you." For a moment, there was silence. Then the pendant at his chest flared brighter, and the mist surged forward, straight into him. Elias gasped as blue light flooded through his veins. His vision blurred, and he felt a strange rhythm echoing in his pulse, hers. The wind roared, carrying faint whispers in an alien tongue. When he opened his eyes again, his pupils shimmered faintly blue. He could see the energy trails of the drones, red lines moving through the air like fireflies. He could feel their scanners sweeping past him, searching for life. Lyra's voice whispered again, calm and firm. "Move now, I will guide you." He obeyed, running across the sand toward the ancient ruins to the north. The ground shook under his boots as beams of red light carved the dunes behind him. He dove behind a half-buried pillar, panting. "Left," she whispered. "They will flank from the east." He turned sharply, blasting his rifle into the sand. The beam hit a drone dead on, and it exploded into shards. The others closed in, buzzing like angry hornets. Elias felt heat building in his chest, his hands glowing blue. "Lyra, what's happening to me?" "Our bond. My energy responds to your will. You can fight them." He raised his hands instinctively, and a wave of blue energy burst out, pushing the drones back in a single pulse. The desert lit up with light and smoke. When it cleared, only silence remained. Elias fell to his knees, trembling. The light in his veins faded slowly. The pendant pulsed gently against his chest, steady as a heartbeat. "Lyra," he whispered. Her voice was soft now, distant. "Follow the light north. There's a place they cannot reach. The temple of my ancestors. Hurry, before my strength fades." He looked toward the northern horizon, where a faint blue glow shimmered in the distance. The ruins, and with one final glance at the grave, Elias whispered, "I'll find you, Lyra. I swear it." Then he ran into the twilight, the twin suns sinking behind him, as the ghost of his lost love guided him through the desert once more. The ruins of Varelia rose from the desert like broken teeth, ancient, sharp, and silent. The stone towers leaned at strange angles, their carvings glowing faintly under the dying suns. Elias ran through them, lungs burning, boots sinking into the fine blue dust. Behind him, the sky hummed with the sound of pursuit. 3 black drones darted above the dunes, their scanners sweeping wide arcs of red light. Every few seconds, one would stop and pulse the air with a deep, vibrating hum, searching for the anomaly that was now bound to his body. Faster. Lyra's voice whispered inside his mind. "They are locking on your trail." Elias ducked behind a fallen arch, panting hard. "I can't outrun them forever," he muttered. Sweat dripped down his brow, leaving streaks on his dust-covered face. "Where is this temple you spoke of?" A flicker of warmth pulsed through the pendant at his chest. "Ahead, beneath the Heartstone cliffs. You'll see the light." He peeked around the corner. The drones were closer now, scanning every shadow. He could even hear the faint clicks of their targeting systems, cold and methodical. His rifle's charge was nearly empty. He only had one shot left. "Lyra," he whispered. "If I miss, then we die together." He smiled faintly. "That's not the deal I made with you." The first drone swooped low. Elias waited until it was almost above him, then fired. The plasma bolt hit dead center, bursting the machine into shards of smoke and fire. But the blast gave away his position. The others turned instantly, beams cutting through the dusk. He ran. The world became a blur of sand and ruins. Red beams scorched the ground beside him. He leapt over broken stones and slid under a fallen pillar. Dust filled his lungs and the pendant throbbed against his chest like a living thing. "Left," Lyra cried in his mind. He obeyed. The ground dropped suddenly into a slope, and he tumbled down into a hollow chamber hidden beneath the dunes. The air here was cool and still. The walls shimmered faintly with blue veins of light. Elias looked up. Above him, the entrance was small, too narrow for drones to follow. He caught his breath and scanned the chamber. The carvings on the walls showed strange scenes. Humans and Virelians standing side by side, holding glowing crystals between them. "What is this place?" he asked. Lyra's voice softened. "An ancient alliance. Before the wars. Before fear divided us." He brushed dust off a large stone tablet and froze. There, carved deep into the wall, was the same symbol as the pendant, two circles intertwined. One blue, one gold. He touched it gently. "This means something, doesn't it? It means balance, unity. It means us." A faint rumble echoed above. Elias looked up. Red light flickered through the crack. "The drones were cutting through the stone. They're coming," he said sharply. Lyra's glow intensified. "There's a hidden path below you." Stamped the ground. He hesitated, then stomped hard with his boot. The floor vibrated. A small section cracked open, revealing a spiral staircase made of smooth crystal. Elias blinked. "You could have told me that earlier. Would you have believed me?" He grinned faintly despite the danger. "Fair point." He descended quickly as dust rained down from above. The sound of the drones grew louder, closer. The narrow passage twisted deeper underground, the blue light guiding his steps. Finally, he reached a massive door, circular, covered with glowing veins that pulsed like a heartbeat. At its center was a handprint, not human, not alien, something in between. Lyra. "It looks like it needs a living Virelian to open it," she finished softly. "But I'm not alive." Elias pressed his palm against the print anyway. Nothing happened. The veins flickered weakly, then faded. He stepped back, frustration flooding his chest. "There has to be a way." "There is," Lyra whispered. "But it will cost you." The ceiling above shook violently, a blast from the drones. Stone dust fell like rain. Elias clenched his fists. "Tell me," her voice trembled. "To open the door. You must let me inside you completely." He froze. "You mean merge?" "Yes, my energy will replace part of yours. If your mind resists, you'll die. But if you let me, we both might live." Another blast shook the chamber. The drones were nearly through. Elias looked up at the crack of red light, then back at the glowing door. "All right, Lyra," he said quietly. "Let's finish what we started." The pendant on his chest burst into bright blue light, and the ruins filled with the sound of two hearts beating as one. The chamber shook violently as cracks split across the ceiling. Dust rained down in thin, choking sheets. Elias covered his head, his eyes darting to the glowing veins that now pulsed erratically along the ancient walls. Above, the metallic hum of the drones grew louder. They were nearly through. He looked at the circular door before him. Smooth crystal, alive with faint blue light. At its center, the hand-shaped imprint waited silently, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. "Lyra," he shouted over the noise, "tell me what to do." Her voice echoed inside his mind, soft but trembling. "You must let me in." "Completely." Elias hesitated. "You mean, merge with you?" "Yes, my essence is bound to you, but only halfway. If I enter fully, I can use your body to activate the gate. But Elias, if you resist even a little, it could destroy you." He laughed bitterly, shaking his head. "I was destroyed the moment you died, Lyra." A pause. Then her voice softened, full of sorrow. "Then let me fix what I broke." The chamber flashed as a plasma blast tore through the roof. A drone descended, its red eye focusing on Elias. He fired back, but the rifle's charge sputtered. Empty. The machine aimed again. But before it could shoot, the pendant on his chest erupted in light. Blue tendrils of energy wrapped around him, surging through his skin like lightning. "Do it, Lyra," he cried. The mist around the pendant swirled violently, then rushed into him in a blinding storm. Elias screamed as light filled his veins. His vision exploded into shards, images, memories, sensations. He saw Lyra's childhood on Virelia, the glowing forests, the silver rivers, her laughter under violet skies. Then the war, the screaming, the fire, the blood, and then her voice. "Don't fight it. Breathe with me." Elias gasped, his pulse syncing with hers. His veins glowed bright blue, his eyes turning to liquid sapphire. The pain eased, replaced by a strange warmth. It wasn't like losing control. It was like sharing it. "I can feel you," he whispered. "You're inside me, and you inside me," Lyra replied. "Now, touch the door." He raised his hand and pressed it against the imprint. The crystal responded instantly. The veins across the wall flared to life, spinning patterns of light like constellations. The ground trembled. The circular door began to open with a deep resonant hum. Inside, a massive chamber glowed with blue light. Rows of stasis pods lined the walls, each holding a sleeping form, some human, some alien, and some neither. Elias stepped inside slowly, awe written across his face. What is this place?" Lyra's voice was stronger now, no longer fading. "A sanctuary. Before the war, our ancestors created this place to preserve unity, to save both species if the galaxy turned on itself." He stared at one of the pods. Inside was a young human girl with faint blue lines running under her skin. "Hybrids," he whispered. "Yes," Lyra said gently. "The proof that we could become more together than apart." Elias felt her sadness through the bond, deep and aching. But the project failed. Fear killed it. The humans wanted control. My people wanted purity. We lost everything. He clenched his fists. "Then maybe we can bring it back." Lyra didn't answer for a moment. When she spoke again, her tone carried a quiet hope. "Perhaps. But the energy here is fading. We must awaken the heart core to restore it." Before Elias could respond, the sound of metal scraping filled the corridor. The drones had cut through the entrance. Red light pierced the darkness as 3 machines floated in, weapons charging. Lyra's voice flared sharp in his head. "Elias, move!" He spun, firing a blast of blue energy from his palm, not from his weapon, but from within himself. The beam struck one drone, tearing it apart instantly. Elias looked at his glowing hand in disbelief. "Lyra, what did you do to me?" Her laughter filled his mind, soft and warm. "I gave you the gift of my people, the power of the spirit." The remaining drones opened fire. Elias dodged, moving faster than he ever had. Each blast that neared him seemed to bend away, deflected by a faint blue aura. He shot back instinctively, waves of light bursting from his fingertips. Within seconds, silence filled the chamber again. The drones were gone. Only smoke remained. Elias dropped to one knee, panting. The light inside him dimmed slowly. "Lyra," he whispered. "We did it." Her voice was tired but gentle. "For now, but more will come. We must reach the heart core before they find us again." He nodded, looking at the rows of sleeping hybrids. "Then let's finish this together." The chamber lights pulsed softly. Like a heartbeat, 2 rhythms merged into one. And as the twin suns vanished beyond the dunes above, a faint blue glow spread through the ruins. The first sign that something long dead was waking again. The air inside the ancient chamber shimmered like liquid light. Elias stood at its center, still catching his breath. The faint glow beneath his skin refused to fade. It pulsed in rhythm with another heartbeat, hers. He wasn't alone anymore. Lyra was everywhere, in his thoughts, his pulse, his breath. Every time he blinked, he caught flashes of her world, a silver sky, glowing rivers, fields where the stars touched the ground. "Are you all right?" Her voice whispered softly inside him. Elias looked down at his trembling hands. His reflection on the polished floor startled him. His pupils now glowed faint blue, veins of light tracing his skin like constellations. "All right?" he muttered. "I don't even know what I am anymore." Lyra's tone was calm but firm. "You're both, human and Varelian, bound by the bond of soul thread. The first of your kind," he laughed shakily. "You make it sound like a miracle." "It is," she replied gently, "but also a curse if we fail." Before Elias could speak, a low hum filled the chamber. The walls vibrated, the pods lining them glowing faintly. Within each transparent shell, human and alien faces twitched as though dreaming. "The hybrids," Elias murmured. "They're waking up." Lyra's voice deepened with awe. "They sense us. The bond between us reactivates the heart core's signal. You're the key, Elias. We are." He moved closer to the nearest pod, placing his palm against the glass. Inside, a young woman, half human, half Varelian, stirred. Her veins shimmered blue and a faint spark of life flickered in her chest. Elias turned his head slightly. "They're still alive, after centuries." "Yes," Lyra whispered. "The heart core preserved them in timeless sleep. But to awaken them fully, we must restore the planetary pulse." He frowned. "How?" "Through the crystal nexus beneath this chamber. It will respond to our merged energy, but there's danger. The energy will draw attention. From the drones? From worse, the overseers." Elias didn't like the sound of that. But before he could ask more, the air trembled, a deep vibration like thunder underground. The chamber lights dimmed, and then a metallic voice echoed through the ruins. "Unauthorized hybrid signature detected. Human Varelian contamination confirmed." Elias turned toward the tunnel entrance. A massive drone hovered there, larger than any he'd seen. Its central eye burned crimson. Lyra's voice was urgent. "That's a command unit. It can nullify bioenergy fields." The machine extended its arms, releasing a pulse of red energy. Elias was thrown backward into a pillar, his chest searing with pain. The glow under his skin flickered. "Lyra," he gasped, "it's suppressing us." "Focus," she urged. "Breathe with me. Let our hearts align." He closed his eyes, forcing the pain down. He felt her presence merge deeper, her thoughts intertwining with his, their fear becoming one. The red pulse struck again. This time Elias stood firm. His body glowed brighter, blue light spreading from his chest outward like a wave. The command unit's sensors flared. "Impossible. Dual core resonance detected." Elias lifted his hand, palm blazing. "You should have stayed in orbit." A surge of blue-white energy exploded from his fingertips, hitting the drone square in the eye. The impact tore it apart in a flash of light and molten metal. Shrapnel scattered across the chamber, and the echo faded into silence. Elias fell to one knee, panting heavily. The blue glow dimmed again, but his body still thrummed with power. Lyra's voice was softer now, trembling. "You did it. But your body can't hold my full energy for long." He wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Then we better move fast. Where's this nexus?" A wall at the far end of the chamber began to shift, ancient mechanisms awakening after ages of silence. Blue light poured from the cracks, illuminating a spiral path leading downward. Lyra's voice carried both fear and wonder. Down there, the heart of Virelia itself. Elias looked back one last time at the glowing pods. Dozens of sleeping hybrids, waiting. "If we restore the pulse, they'll live, won't they?" "Yes," Lyra said softly. "And maybe the war will finally end, even if the galaxy forgot it ever began." He took a deep breath and stepped toward the path. "Then let's finish this." As he descended, the chamber lights faded behind him, leaving only the echo of two heartbeats, one human, one alien, beating together beneath the twin suns. But above, beyond the dunes, hundreds of red eyes flickered to life in the dark sky. The overseers were waking, and this time, they were coming for both of them. The spiral descent felt endless, Each step Elias took echoed through the ancient tunnels, the air thick with the scent of minerals and old power. The deeper he went, the stronger the glow became, veins of blue light pulsing through the walls like arteries. The entire planet seemed alive, breathing in rhythm with him. Or maybe, with them. Lyra's voice murmured inside his thoughts, calm and steady despite the chaos above. We're close. The heart core sleeps beneath the chamber of echoes. It feels us, calling. Elias tightened his grip on his rifle, though it felt almost meaningless now. His true weapon pulsed under his skin. If this thing wakes up the planet, he said, will it wake the others too? It will wake everything, she replied quietly. Every Virelian, every dormant hybrid, even the memories of the dead. The world itself remembers us. When they reached the bottom, the tunnel opened into a colossal cavern. The roof arched so high it disappeared into darkness. At the center stood a massive crystalline heart, suspended in the air, glowing faintly, each pulse casting blue waves across the walls. Ancient runes surrounded it, whispering with faint light. Elias stopped, awestruck. It's beautiful. It's alive, Lyra said softly. It's waiting for us. He took a step forward. The ground trembled. His pulse quickened, and he felt hers align perfectly with his. But before he could touch the crystal, a sharp hum filled the air. The ceiling split open with a blast, scattering shards of stone and dust. Elias ducked as a column of red light shot down. A sleek alien ship descended through the opening, engines roaring. Its black hull gleamed like liquid metal, its insignia unmistakable, Virelian royal sigil. Lyra's voice caught. My people. The ship's landing thrusters scorched the ground as a ramp extended. A squad of tall, armored Virelians stepped out, their eyes glowing cold silver, their weapons humming. At their center stood a figure draped in white armor, markings etched into her skin like lightning scars. Her presence filled the chamber with authority. Elias instinctively raised his rifle. I thought your people were gone. Not gone, Lyra whispered. Just changed. The lead Virelian lifted her hand, stopping her soldiers. Human, she said, her voice smooth but sharp as glass. You carry our traitor's essence. Release her and you may yet live, Elias frowned. Traitor? The woman's expression hardened. Lyra disobeyed the council's decree. She mingled her spirit with a human. She defiled our code. Her silver eyes flared brighter. You should not exist. Elias clenched his jaw. Then maybe your code was wrong. The commander's gaze shifted slightly, and for a split second, uncertainty flickered. But her voice was cold again. Surrender, and we will reclaim what remains of her. Lyra's presence flared hot inside Elias's chest. No, if they separate us now, I'll fade forever. The soldiers moved forward, weapons aimed. Elias took a step back toward the glowing hardcore. You want her? He said quietly. Then come take her. The commander raised her staff, energy swirling around its tip. So be it. The chamber erupted in chaos. Blades of red plasma clashed against waves of blue light. Elias moved faster than ever, his body guided by Lyra's instincts. He blocked, dodged, struck, each movement flowing like liquid. The floor cracked under the force of the clash. Lyra's voice echoed within him like fire. Use the core. Channel us through it. He reached out, his hand brushing the crystal. The instant his skin made contact, light exploded through the chamber. Blue and gold threads twisting into spirals that rose toward the ceiling. The soldiers were thrown back, their armor cracking from the force. The commander fell to one knee, her eyes wide with shock. The heart recognizes you, she whispered. Impossible. Elias stood bathed in blue fire, his silhouette merging with Lyra's ethereal form. Their voices spoke as one, human and alien intertwined. We are not impossible. We are what you feared to become. The commander lowered her weapon slowly. For a long moment, silence ruled. Then she bowed her head. Perhaps we were the ones who forgot. Outside, the planet rumbled. Ancient energy surged through its crust, lighting the horizon. Across the galaxy, old sensors would awaken, reporting the impossible. Virelia reborn. Elias felt his knees weaken as the glow dimmed. Lyra's voice was faint again, trembling. It's not over yet. The overseers will sense this. He exhaled slowly. Then we'll face them together. Above, the twin suns broke through the dust clouds, one golden, one silver, shining over a world that was no longer dead. The Virelians had returned. And so had she. The cavern quaked as the heart core blazed brighter than ever before. Blue and gold light coiled around Elias like living ribbons, lifting him slowly into the air. The Virelians shielded their faces, unable to withstand the brilliance pouring from the crystal. The entire planet seemed to hum, a sound both ancient and alive, as if the world itself was taking a deep, shuddering breath after a long sleep. Lyra's voice trembled within him, but it wasn't fear. It was awe. It's awakening. Elias, you did it. The heart remembers. Elias floated above the crystal, his body glowing like a star, veins burning with alien fire. We did it, he whispered. Together. But even as he spoke, the ground trembled again. This time not from the planet's revival, but from something descending from the skies. The Virelian commander looked upward, eyes wide. The overseers, she hissed. Through the hole in the ceiling, a massive shadow blotted out the twin suns. Dozens of colossal ships descended, their hulls shaped like black wings. These weren't Virelian or human craft. They were older, built by the ancient AI who had once ruled the war from behind the scenes. The overseers, cold and merciless, the machines who had deemed both species too dangerous to coexist. Lyra's voice filled his mind again, calm but resolute. They've come to erase what we've reignited. Elias, if the heart core falls, everything dies again. Every Virelian, every human hybrid, even me. Elias clenched his fists. Then we protect it. The sky cracked open as energy blasts rained down. The Virelian soldiers raised their shields, but the explosions shook the entire mountain. The commander shouted, "Fall back, protect the heart!" Elias landed beside the crystal, still pulsing in rhythm with his chest. He looked up at the approaching storm, then down at the glowing surface. There has to be a way to stop them. There is, Lyra whispered softly, but it will cost us everything. Elias frowned. What do you mean? The heart core is connected to the planet's life force. If we merge with it completely, it will unleash its full energy, enough to drive the overseers away and rebuild the biosphere. But, her voice faltered, it will consume us, Elias. There will be no bodies left, only light. He stood, there for a long moment, staring at the storm above. The soldiers fighting, the broken world trembling beneath him. Then he smiled, a tired, soft smile. You once said Virelia never forgets those it loves. Lyra's presence warmed his chest. I meant it. He reached out his hand toward the crystal. Then let's make sure they remember us too. Her voice was tender now. You're sure? Always. The moment his fingers touched the heart core, a surge of power tore through the cavern. The light consumed everything. The walls split, the floor melted into pure energy. The Virelians fell to their knees, shielding their eyes as Elias and Lyra became one beam of blue-gold light that shot into the heavens. The overseer ships halted mid-air, sensors scrambling. From the planet's surface erupted a storm of luminous energy, waves of light washing across the atmosphere like an ocean tide. The AI fleet tried to retreat, but the pulse struck them with divine force, ripping through their systems. One by one, their engines failed. The sky burned with falling metal and shattered circuitry. The light spread farther, across mountains, through deserts, over the ruins of cities long forgotten. Dead trees sprouted leaves of glass and light. Rivers flowed again, glowing faintly blue. The world of Virelia breathed. When the brilliance finally faded, silence filled the air. The heart core hovered calmly at the cavern's center, dimming into a soft, peaceful glow. The Virelian stepped forward hesitantly. The commander knelt beside the crystal, placing a hand over her heart. "Elias Ward," she whispered, voice trembling. "And Lyra of Virelia. They are gone." But as she turned to leave, something shimmered on the surface of the crystal. A faint image. A human and a Virelian standing hand in hand under twin suns, smiling. And then, as if the planet itself remembered their love, a new tree began to grow beside the heart. Its trunk was silver, its leaves glowing blue and gold. When the wind passed, through it the air whispered softly, 2 heartbeats, perfectly in sync. Far above, from the orbiting ruins of an overseer ship, the last functioning sensor recorded a strange pulse in the planet's field. 2 life signatures merged, endless, indistinguishable. The human and the alien had become one. And from that day, both races would tell the same legend, that under the twin suns of Virelia, 2 souls refused to die, and their love became the light that rebirthed a world.